So in the previous lecture, we were talking about the GLP, their objectives, equipments, and facilities. Now today we are going to talk about the protocols for the conduct of the clinical studies. Protocol for the conduct of the clinical studies. Agree? So all these things are there. So let us start with the protocol for the conduct of the non-clinical studies. So what is basically a protocol? So protocol maybe a written plan and which specifies the objectives and design of the study and reason to conduct the study, and specific scientific objectives are always there. Now what is test article? So test article is basically it is an article which is essential in nature, and what it includes the name, code, and cache number. Okay, now what is basically the cache number? So we have to so what is the basically the cache number? So it is basically the chemical abstract service, okay, registry number, chemical abstract service registry number. So that is called as the cache number. And the properties such as the physical, chemical, and stability characteristics, they are there. Now control articles, so it is used as a benchmark for the comparison. So in that includes the identification, name, code, cache number, properties as in the test articles, positive and the negative control, test systems, so details of the systems used, that includes the animal, plant, species, cell culture. Now methods for obtaining the test systems are there. So what it includes, the methods that also include the purchase and the collection, details of the housing, care, and the maintenance are always there. Now if we talk about the study timelines, so what they includes, they include the dates assigned to the study, details of the proposed experimental start and the termination dates, and thereafter the compliance study with the GLP should be indicated. Now if we talk about the experimental designs, so in the experimental designs, what they specify that the method is used for overseeing, collecting, and analyzing the data. Now what is collecting? So dosing methods, frequency of the duration, analysis means method of analysis. Now recording collection, so all records are retained, weight, clinical scores, lab data, and detailed description of the methods, route of administration, all these are included. Furthermore, doses and the treatment, so level, uniformity, and the frequency of the close should be mentioned. Detailed description of the method, route of administration should be mentioned. Now if we talk about the test systems, so they include the detailed systems used for the annual and the plant species, cell culture, and all these things are there. So now what includes the study personals? They study personal, first thing they will include the name, thereafter the titles, the roles of the personals, and that should be mentioned. Now study timelines बोला तो नाम ही सीधे बताता है that they includes the data assigned to the study, details of the proposed experimental start and the termination dates, and the study compliance with the GLP should be indicated. Now study compliance, what they include? Study compliance means they may include the description and the review of the SOPs before and during the study. Now changes and the modification, so further any changes or the modification must be shared with the study director and the sponsor. Now protocol for the conduct of the clinical studies has been completed. Now we will talk about the records and the reports. So what are basically records are basically the raw data, okay, and what they ensure the traceability. What traceability of the entire study, okay, and thereafter reconstructing the studies at a specific time, thereafter verifying and ensuring the data and the validity, facility audits and the inspections, allow the interpretation of the results, protect against the fraud and misinterpretation. Regulatory requirement includes detailed and accurate records. All the records must be retained for a specific period. Now formats of the record, what they includes, the format of the record will be in the three types, that will be the handwritten, printed, or the electronic, okay, and furthermore let it be handwritten, printed, or electronic, that should be signed and dated. It should be clear and legible. The permanent ink, cross out errors, not erase, should be used. Corrections, single line strike should be there. Initiated dates and the reason for the change, why you have changed the records. Now the type of the records, what they includes: the animal room records, study specific or the batch records, logbook, raw data worksheets, instrument printouts, chain of the custody forms, training records, SOPs. Okay, study reports, what they include: they basically includes the complete signed and dated report of the study, title and the purpose of the study, list of the test, control articles, justification of the test systems, method test, summary of the results, statistical analysis, archiving details, name of the study director and all the involved personnels. Furthermore, what they includes: the quality assurance statements they include. Study reports, what they include: they include in the study report the complete signed and detailed report of the study is there, title and the purpose of the study should be there, list of the test, and furthermore the archival details, SOP records, discarded material records should be there. Now, disqualification and the testing facilities. So, who are authorized for disqualification? So, basically, the regulatory authorities which are responsible for the disqualification include basically the US FDA, WHO, and OECD. Now, what is OECD? Organization for Economic and Operations and Development. Furthermore, what is the reason? So you have to protect the human subject. Subject means the patient against the safety and the data integrity. The GLP facilities must comply with the set standards and guidelines. Obviously, they should. And in the severe cases, non-compliance of the misconduct should be there. Now, furthermore, we are talking about the disqualification. So when the disqualification happens, so it happens when we are going to do the serious deviations against the GLP regulations, and we are providing the false or the misleading information. That means it is some sort of the fraud, poor record keeping, incomplete or the inaccurate data, inadequate SOPs or the workers training, failure to carry out the required procedures, not deliberate changes, outcome manipulations, all this will be included. Failure to correct the identified problems, that will be also there. Now, disqualification process, what it includes: it includes the notification includes the warning letters issued to the facility, explanation for the non-compliance, opportunity to correct, facility given time to take the corrective action. Deficiency report means that is prepared by the regulatory body, regulatory hearing that is held for the final assessment and the decisions. So all these things are there. So thereafter, now what are the consequences of the disqualification? So first consequence would be the suspension. Suspension from what? Suspension from the ongoing studies. Second thing, the results will be nullified and not recognized. Unrecognizable results will be there. Thereafter, a ban on the future application from the facility. Now, what are the type of the records? So you have to identify and correct all the deficiencies, implement new SOPs and improve management, facility submit information for revaluation. Requalification of the facility. So facility submits request for the requalification, conduct new inspection and audit for the facility. Regulators check the implementation of the corrective actions. Requalification of the granted if found compliant with the GLP. So all these things would be there. Now, corrective action after disqualification. So the facility has to submit the request for the requalification. The last thing, that is the importance of the compliance. So why we are doing this? For ensuring the patient and the public safety and maintaining the data integrity. So this is the disqualification of the testing facility. Now, what is the process of disqualification? So again, the same thing, the notification, the warning letter has to be issued from the PTC. What is PTC? The problem testing facility. The firm asking to explain the non-compliance. Thereafter, a detailed letter which explains the GLP violation found during the inspection and that do not require the the facility is not meeting the required regulatory standards. So all these things would be there. Thereafter, opportunities given to correct. So facilities given the time to take the corrective actions. Facility rectified deficiencies observed during inspections. Thereafter, you have the submission of the corrective actions. So what that include? That deficiency detailed report has to be prepared by the regulatory body. Deficiency report. So detailed deficiency report is prepared by the regulatory body. Request for the information. So PTC, that is the problem testing facility, is asked to provide the relevant records, and regulatory body PTC is asked for study records, SOP, and the training records. Request for information. So test facility is asked to provide the records and the data. A regulator performs the detailed on-site GLP audit of the facility. Furthermore, what happens? Deficiency report. So detailed deficiency report is prepared by the regulatory body. Now, what is on-site inspection? So testing facility is asked to provide relevant records. PTCs are asked for study records, SOP, and the training records. Request for the information. The testing facility is asked to provide the relevant records and the data. PTCs asked for study records, SOPs, and the training records. Now, what is request for the information? So, in this request for the information, the testing facility is asked to provide the relevant records and the data, and PTC is asked for the SOPs records and the training records. Furthermore, the last thing that happens is the on-site inspection. So that happens through the audit conducted at the facility. Regulators perform the detailed on-site GLP audit, facility information on all deficiencies observed, and the actions required. Okay, so these things completes the unit 3. Okay, thank you.